Hey there everyone, welcome back to the channel for a little more Fire Emblem content today. You may have seen my freak out video, the highlights reel from the last Nintendo Direct, but I am still excited about Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore, which is an incredibly long name. Probably just going to call it Encore from here on out to signify the difference between the two. But they announced that they were porting this. I am sure that it is not just a port, and I will try and lay that out in some of the information that I bring to you next. So for what that's worth, we're going to go over some of the things that we all may have missed in all of the excitement of the announcement, except for one individual particularly. Throughout all of my combing of the internet trying to find like details you may have missed from the announcement trailer, blah, blah, blah. One individual did a heck of a job, so I tried to compile it, but honestly, Oscar from Twitter, the Prince of Iris, if you're not following them, you probably should be. I'm going to leave a link to this particular thread that they did in the description, because I'm not going to be covering everything that was in the trailer, just some stuff like outfits, DLC, dungeons, things like that that are like kind of new, but also maybe kind of old as well, and we'll talk about that. So if you want even more, please go check out Oscar's thread. Again, link will be in the description, and I will remind you at the end of the video too, just because the detail that they put into this is pretty bonkers. So, first off, let's talk new stuff, because this is not just a port. Nintendo has ported several games, including at launch, over to the Switch from previous systems like the Wii U in particular. So this, I don't think anybody really thought that this would happen, but it did, and so here we are. The new song, She Is, was mentioned in the actual Nintendo Direct, and it's featuring Tsubasa and Kiria. You can see actually her outfit on the far right above Mirage. She's actually wearing a new outfit, which is kind of interesting, and you can see it here in this still too. This was actually from the new song, and that kind of also implies that we're going to be getting a new special attack along with the new song. And if you didn't know already that She Is in fact a new song, there's even a poster in the game featuring the two from the song She Is. So clearly Nintendo really wants us to know that there's going to be a new song. It's called She Is, and it's featuring Kiria and Tsubasa. So, great. Love it. New outfits as well, that's kind of important. And I'm gonna touch on these guys in just a bit if you're not noticing what Tsubasa's wearing down there. So, that's great. We're getting a new song, probably a new special attack to go with it. Speaking of outfits, Tiki. Tiki is shown here during part of the trailer wearing her like traditional young Tiki garb. If you're familiar with Fire Emblem Heroes, that's kind of what she wears. She's also wearing this in her young Tiki form, or her early Tiki form, I guess. Any game pretty much outside of Awakening, so stuff like Shadow Dragon, Fire Emblem Warriors, games like that, this is kind of what Tiki's wearing, which is kind of new, so that's kind of cool. Speaking of Tiki, she is now playable, along with Maiko Shimazaki, and Barry Goodman. Barry Goodman is also here. This is becoming Smash. Everyone's here. They were previously more support-oriented characters, so this is just kind of a new twist that we're getting, and that means likely we're getting more side stories with them. So more content in general, which is kind of exciting. So I mentioned earlier glasses. We may also be seeing accessories, because Tsubasa here is wearing glasses, and while I own the original game, I've never actually played through the game. I know a decent amount about it because I researched it for a long time before actually getting the game, because it was hard to find. Fun fact, you can actually find it on the Nintendo Shop USA site. And it's been there for like 2 years, and I had no idea. For what that's worth. So Tsubasa's wearing glasses throughout the entire video. It's not in just this still in particular, but she wasn't really wearing them originally. I guess there was some backstory. Oscar kind of talked about it a bit, where the devs were thinking about having her wear glasses originally, but they ended up deciding not to. So I don't know if that's just like a new outfit, a new accessory. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's paid DLC. Speaking of DLC, the original game did have DLC back on the Wii U, and fitting to most Nintendo games that get ported, so stuff like Mario Kart 8, Pokken Tournament, things like that. Anything that had DLC from the Wii U version, when it came over to the Switch, had all of that paid DLC from the previous console included in the next-gen game for the Switch. This doesn't really seem to be any different, because if you can see way in the back here, we have Eleonora wearing her Perfect Maid outfit, which was initially paid DLC for the Wii U version. So maybe they're bringing that over. Like I said, it wouldn't be out of character. Nintendo has done that with pretty much every game they've ported from the Wii U over to the Switch. And I think that kind of helps it make it feel like it's not just another port, you know? So for what that's worth, there you go. We could be getting the paid DLC in the new version for free. But that's not to say there won't be any DLC necessarily. Because look, another thing that Oscar found, again, Oscar is like a legend. Another thing that they found, this was not actually featured in the trailer, so if you missed this, don't feel bad because it wasn't actually in the video. This was from the official Japanese website for the game, and Momori is wearing something that may be a little familiar to you. If you've played Three Houses, that looks a heck of a lot like an Officer Academy's student uniform. So, I mean, they're kind of jumping on the bandwagon with that. I can't really blame them. Three Houses is a masterpiece, in my opinion, and it's sold way more Fire Emblem games than any other Fire Emblem game to date, I believe. So, I wouldn't doubt them or blame them for jumping on the bandwagon. The fact that it was on the website and not in the announcement trailer tells me that it's probably some form of paid DLC. And there may actually be some sort of crossover interaction between the DLC in Three Houses as well as Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore. So just kind of keep that in mind. Nintendo has done crossover DLC before. For example, in Breath of the Wild, you could get Rex's outfit for Link from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was awesome. So they've done like cross promo with stuff like that before. Don't be surprised if they do that with this, especially within the same franchise, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. And there's also likely going to be some kind of new area to explore as well. Oscar pointed this out. They were not familiar with this particular backdrop. However, this yellowish goldeny gate back there is usually only used for DLC dungeons in the original game. So that said, we're probably getting some sort of DLC dungeon area as well as outfits and possibly accessories and things like that. But we don't know if they're just new or if they're actually like paid DLC, because in this screen grab, and you can't really see it because the grab got cut off, but the entire party is level 25. And again, Oscar pointed out that the weapon that our hero here is holding is a very early game sword. So more than likely it's not going to be DLC. It's probably just a new area within the game, because I don't know why Itsuki would be holding a weapon that's early game, but then also it's paid DLC, which typically comes later, unless there's some sort of like level cap system that they put in. I don't know. More than likely it's a new area. So we could be getting DLC dungeons that are paid. We could be getting just new dungeons in general, like we're getting new songs. And so there's a lot. There's a lot that's happening just from like a 90-second trailer, I think, at most, that we saw. So for what that's worth, it definitely does look like a new, if not heavily refreshed version of the original. And there's a lot more that I didn't cover, like I said. I just kind of wanted to talk about Encore, some differences from the originals, and then, you know, the DLC options that we might be getting, outfits, dungeons, things like that. Everything looks great, honestly. I'm pretty excited. I don't expect a new mainline Fire Emblem game for another 5 years, probably. I hope they don't pump them out constantly, because that would make me sad. Because I want them to make good games. I don't want frequent games. I want good games. I will take spin-off games in the in-between. I will take remakes in the in-between, happily. And also be sure to look out for Encore crossover in Faye as well. If you didn't know, these guys are also in Cypher. The characters from Tokyo Mirage Sessions have their own set in Cypher, the trading card game or collectible card game, which is only in Japan. Fingers crossed that that eventually gets localized over to the States, or at least in some form of English that I can read. Because I do collect them, actually, just for the art, because there's not really a good way to play it with the actual card. So there you go. There's some stuff you may have missed. If you want more, like I said, check out Oscar's thread. Link is in the description. I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to let me know if you are planning on picking up Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore. Good lord, that is a long name. When it launches in 2020. I think spring is when it's launching. So there you go. Exciting stuff. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.